I'm working on setting up this light bar to turn on with the high beams, stock high beams, but the issue we run into with this generation of Ram trucks with the dual, so we got a separate high beam bulb from the low beam bulb. This is run as a daytime running light, and then so you can't just have the light bar turn on when the high beam bulb turns on, because the daytime running light is pulse width modulation 50%. So 50%, so half a second the bulb is energized, half a second it's off, so it appears slightly dimmer. But if you hook up that type of signal to a relay, it just goes absolutely bananas because it's turning on and off every half second. So your relay is gonna last, it's gonna wreck your relay. This thing's gonna be on when you're driving in the daytime, which is not what I want. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the low beam wire, we're gonna connect that to the coil on a relay. We're gonna take the high beam wire, we're going to connect that to the relay, which is turned on by the low beam, and then that's going to go to a relay that turns the light bar on, because the low beams are only on when the lights are fully on at night. So that way, when your high beams are on, your light bar will be on. And these pods I'm putting in here too, they also have a high beam and they'll be wired up the same. So what I've done is I turned the lights on and I took my multimeter attached to the ground. You could use a test light too, but that's what I have. And I just probe these until I find 12 volts when low beam and high beam are on. So I know that the blue and white is the positive wire for the low beam, and the green and white is the positive wire for the high beam. So that's all. And then I'll just cut this wire out here and make a connection here, make sure it's sealed up so that nothing can get in it, and then those two wires will go to the relays. Now I've unplugged the light. I decided to cut it on this side on the truck harness so that if I ever have to unplug the light housing completely, I don't have to cut the wires. So I'm going to be splicing the low beam signal in. Okay, here we got the two wires joined in to the harness. Now we just got to tape it all up and run them up to the battery up there. Okay, we got her all taped up. Got the wire going up, taped up, and now it's up here at the battery. And we just gotta get some relays and hook them up, and we have auxiliary high beams. Engineers for cars clearly have too much time on their hands, because why do we need like all these stupid safety things to prevent lights from coming undone? Like, everyone in the aftermarket world just knows that all you need is a button. You don't need this stupid latch that holds it closed. It's just, and hey, then like, it's just maddening how like different they all are. Like, they're not all the same. And like, for the frickin', I unplugged the hood light because I didn't want it draining the battery any. That thing's got a latch on it, as if that's like a safety concern. It's just, It's just unreal, man. Oh, and then another note. When you take your headlight out, make sure you reach in behind. There's a window here. Make sure you reach in behind and push this up, because I didn't, and it's a little bit broken, but it'll still work. Thanks, engineers. Oh yeah, and then there's this stupid thing. It's like a adjustment thing. This one's broken, but it grips the bolt really tight. This thing's reverse threaded, so when you go to try to put your light back on, this thing's gonna start coming out when you're trying to screw it in. So there's a little spring inside this thing that holds the bolt. So I just took a O-ring pick and I just pried it out of there, and now it works fine. And now you can actually adjust it easily. Now I've got the light partway in. So this is like that thing. It's like a height adjustment for the headlight. As you can see, this thing was broken off. My dad just welded it back on. And before I took that spring out, when I was running this bolt in, it was grabbing this thing, and it's reverse threaded, so it was pushing it up as I was trying to screw the bolt in to this nut down here. So pull that spring out, now it stays where it's supposed to, and now you can adjust it easily. For some reason we need that. So I've got this little relay hooked up. It's because it's just sending the high beam, which is the green, to turn on this relay. This thing doesn't really have any load on it really, so I got the smaller one rated to 20 amps. That's more than enough. And then the guy who put this bumper on, he put the light bar in there, and the harness. So this is the this would usually go into the cab, hook up to a switch to turn the light bar on, but we just need to run a wire from pin 30 on here to this blue wire, which is the signal wire for this relay. Make sure before you put your relays together, if you don't have sealed ones, that you just cover those connections in dielectric grease, because I've had a light bar in a car, and when I went to take it out, this thing was so corroded that one of the pins actually broke off the relay. So make sure you protect that from corrosion with dielectric grease. And this little guy has the tiniest numbers. You can't even see them because it's dark and it's blurry. But there is a schematic on here, but the numbers on the beside the pins are so tiny that I had to use a flashlight to even see them in daylight. And this middle pin right here, that is 87A. That's the normally closed one. And then I've hooked the wire from the high beam to 87, and then that will prevent it'll prevent this if I had hooked it to 30, 87A would be hot. So make sure you don't do that if you have a relay with a normally closed pin. So now I just have to run a ground from this to the body, and then run a wire from this pin to that plug, and the light bar will light up. Got it all hooked up, so I cut that connector off that wire and I hooked the blue wire up to here and hooked the black wire, which is a ground, to the ground for the coil. So now, right now the low beams are on, so this connection has been closed, completing the circuit, and then all we need to do is turn on the high beams and the light bar comes on with it. Now we actually have usable high beams, because the stock high beams on this truck suck, but I refuse to put aftermarket LED bulbs in because I don't want to blind everyone else on the road. So there we go.